Remember those old family photos? The ones that show a world that feels a little different, a little more disciplined? We look at them and see heroes, but the stories behind them are even more incredible. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the past and taking a look at the military life that was. We're counting down 10 strict military rules from history that are so wild they would absolutely shock you today. You won't believe what our number one rule is, so watch the full video. 10. The no kissing rule. Back in the early days of the American military, during World War I and even before, a soldier in uniform was expected to be a pillar of stoic strength. This meant no public displays of affection. A soldier returning home wouldn't be seen hugging or kissing their wife or children at the train station. This tradition was meant to show the public that a soldier was all business, all the time, even on leave. Thankfully, as society became more open, this cold and distant tradition faded away, replaced by the warm embraces we see today. 9. The beard tax. In the early 18th century, a Russian Tsar named Peter the Great wanted to modernize his army and make it look more European. He believed that beards were a symbol of backwardness, so he instituted a beard tax. Any man, including a soldier, who wanted to keep his beard had to pay an annual fee and carry around a special metal token as proof. This was a direct assault on Russian tradition, as beards were considered a sign of piety and masculinity. The rule was eventually dropped as the Tsar's successors realized that forcing a tax on facial hair wasn't exactly the best way to win the hearts of their people. 8. The no teeth requirement. This one is truly wild. For a long time in the British Army, especially during the 18th and 19th centuries, a soldier was required to have a full set of teeth. Why? Not for smiling, but because they needed to be able to bite open a paper cartridge of gunpowder. If you were missing teeth, you were useless in a firefight. This rule was a massive hurdle for many potential recruits. Of course, with the invention of more advanced breech-loading rifles, this bizarre and painful requirement was quickly forgotten. 7. The shave and shine. In the early 20th century, a new rule swept through the British Navy and Marine Corps. All sailors and Marines had to have their shoes shined to a mirror-like perfection. This wasn't just about looking sharp, it was about proving you had attention to detail. The idea was that if a man could make his shoes look like glass, he could be trusted to handle the most complex machinery on a ship. This practice has largely faded as more practical, comfortable footwear has become the norm. 6. The no marriage rule. Throughout much of history, many militaries had a simple rule: no marriage for enlisted men. The reasoning was straightforward. A married man had too many distractions and loyalties outside of the military. A soldier with a family was seen as less reliable and less willing to put their life on the line. The military wanted men who were fully dedicated to their duty and nothing else. This strict rule was eventually dropped as it became clear that a stable family life actually made for a more grounded, responsible soldier. 5. The no spitting order. In the trenches of World War I, hygiene was a matter of life and death. Diseases were spreading like wildfire. One of the most common ways to get sick was through germs, and so a strict no spitting order was enforced. Soldiers who were caught spitting on the ground, even in a private moment, could be severely disciplined. This was one of the first times a military force had a major public health campaign within its ranks, showing a shift in thinking from brute force to a more scientific approach. 4. The silent drill. Imagine a group of soldiers performing a complex, synchronized drill without any commands. This was a common practice for some elite units in the past, where they would train to follow the movements of their commanding officer without any verbal cues. This was an ultimate test of discipline and focus, meant to show that a group of soldiers could act as a single, unified organism. This incredibly difficult practice has largely been replaced by more modern and efficient training methods, but it's a testament to old-school discipline. 3. The no-speaking English rule. During World War II, a group of Native American soldiers, the Navajo Code Talkers, were enlisted to use their native language to create an unbreakable code. The code was so secret that they were forbidden from speaking English in front of any non-Navajo soldiers. This was a matter of national security, and it was a heavy burden to bear. Their incredible service was a reminder that some of the greatest weapons are not made of steel, but of culture and language. 2. The no tattoos rule. For a long time, throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, many branches of the military, particularly the Navy, had a simple rule: no tattoos. Tattoos were seen as a mark of criminals and social outcasts. It was believed that a tattoo could be used to identify a deserter. This all changed, of course, as tattoos became more mainstream and accepted in society, and the military adapted to the changing times. Now, a tattoo is seen as a way for a soldier to express their pride and personal history. 1. The no whistling rule. This one seems completely innocent, but in the early British Navy, it was a very serious offense. Why? Because whistling was considered a challenge to the wind. Sailors believed that whistling would anger the wind spirits, causing a storm or a change in the wind that would throw a ship off course. A simple tune on a calm day could be seen as an act of rebellion against the elements. Of course, as navigation and weather forecasting became more scientific, this superstitious rule was finally put to rest, but it's a fascinating glimpse into a time when sailors lived by a different kind of law. It's amazing, isn't it? These rules, as strange as they seem now, were all a part of a larger story. A story of discipline, tradition, and a time when things were just done a little differently. They remind us that history isn't just about big battles and famous names. It's also about the little details and the daily routines that shaped a generation. Thank you for joining us on this little trip back in time. If you enjoyed these stories, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to RetroNest for more journeys into the past.